dive into the incredible history of the most influential female world leaders. From the ancient power of Cleopatra to the modern impact of Diana, we're exploring the women who broke barriers, shaped nations, and changed the course of history. Discover their stories and celebrate the true power of female leadership. Number 15. Hatshepsut. Imagine a woman so powerful she had to literally become a man to rule. That's Hatshepsut. She was the daughter, sister, and wife of a king, so her claim to the throne was solid, but in ancient Egypt, the top job was reserved for men. So, what did she do? She declared herself pharaoh, started wearing a fake beard, and commissioned statues of herself with a male physique. Talk about a power move. She ruled for over 20 years, a longer reign than any other female pharaoh. She wasn't just a figurehead either. Hatshepsut brought unprecedented prosperity to Egypt through trade expeditions, not conquest. She built incredible monuments, including her famous mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahari. Hatshepsut was so successful that some historians consider her the first great woman in history, of whom we are informed. Her stepson, Thutmose III, would later try to erase her from history, but Hatshepsut's legacy was just too big to disappear. Number 14. Eleanor Roosevelt. Eleanor Roosevelt came from a world of privilege, but was marked by tragedy and loneliness from a young age. Instead of letting her circumstances define her, she used them to fuel a lifelong mission of public service. As First Lady, she didn't just host teas. She completely redefined the role. Eleanor became her husband's eyes and ears on the ground during the Great Depression, traveling the country to report on the struggles of everyday people. She was a fierce advocate for civil rights and women's issues, famously holding press conferences exclusively for female journalists to force news outlets to hire them. After her husband's death, she didn't retire. She went on to become a delegate to the United Nations, where she was instrumental in drafting the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It's no wonder President Harry Truman called her the First Lady of the World. She wasn't just a political wife. She was a pioneer who used her platform to fight for a more just world. Number 13. Wu Zetian. For over 2 millennia of Chinese history, only one woman officially ruled as Empress Regnant, Wu Zetian. Born into a high-ranking family, she entered the palace as a concubine to Emperor Taizong. But she was not one to be a second-class citizen. After his death, she married his son, Emperor Gaozong, and quickly rose through the ranks. When Gaozong became debilitated by a stroke, Wu Zetian took over as the de facto ruler. For 25 years, she co-ruled with her husband and sons, before finally establishing her own Zhou dynasty, ruling in her own name for 15 more. Wu Zetian was a formidable leader. She expanded the Chinese Empire deep into Central Asia and Korea, while also promoting Buddhism and education within China. She reformed the civil service system, ensuring officials were chosen based on merit rather than family connections. But her reign was also marked by ruthless purges and a brutal secret police. Love her or hate her, Wu Zetian was a strategic genius and a powerful force who left an indelible mark on Chinese history. Number 12. Margaret Thatcher. In the late 1970s, Britain was in a bad way: high unemployment, a struggling economy, and widespread strikes. Then came Margaret Thatcher, a research chemist turned barrister. She was the first woman to lead a major political party in the United Kingdom, and in 1979, she became the country's first female prime minister. Dubbed the Iron Lady by a Soviet journalist, Thatcher was known for her uncompromising style and bold conservative policies. She privatized state-owned industries, weakened the power of trade unions, and deregulated the financial sector. These policies, known as Thatcherism, were hugely controversial, but they helped to revitalize the British economy. Her popularity soared after the decisive victory in the 1982 Falklands War, leading to a landslide re-election. While her legacy remains a subject of intense debate, there's no question that Margaret Thatcher fundamentally reshaped modern Britain. Number 11. Eleanor of Aquitaine. Imagine being so wealthy and powerful that you were the most sought-after bride in Europe. That was Eleanor of Aquitaine. She was the Duchess of Aquitaine in her own right, making her one of the most powerful women of the High Middle Ages. She led her own army and even participated in the Second Crusade. She married King Louis VII of France, but after 15 years and no male heir, she had the marriage annulled. Just 8 weeks later, she made an even bigger power play. She married Henry, the Duke of Normandy, who would soon become King Henry II of England. This marriage created a vast empire stretching from Scotland to the Pyrenees. She was a key political partner to Henry and bore him 8 children, including the future kings Richard the Lionheart and King John. Her later years were spent imprisoned by her own husband, but she was eventually freed and continued to be a political force, acting as regent for her son Richard. Eleanor of Aquitaine wasn't just a queen. She was a political strategist and a power broker who dominated the European stage. Number 10. Queen Elizabeth. For over 70 years, Elizabeth II was a constant in a world of constant change. Born into royalty, she was never expected to be queen until her uncle, King Edward VIII, abdicated the throne. This unexpected twist of fate set her on a path to becoming one of the most beloved and longest-reigning monarchs in history. Her reign, which began in 1952, spanned from the post-war era to the digital age. She oversaw the decolonization of the British Empire, the rise of the Commonwealth, and countless social and political shifts. Through it all, she maintained an unwavering commitment to duty and tradition. She famously joined the Auxiliary Territorial Service during World War II, showing her resilience and connection to her people. As a symbol of stability and continuity, Queen Elizabeth II was a master of her role, guiding her country with quiet dignity and a sense of duty that remains unmatched. Number 9. Annie Besant. Annie Besant was a force of nature who defied convention at every turn. Born in Victorian England, she was a socialist, a women's rights activist, and a prolific writer who wasn't afraid to challenge the establishment. After a failed marriage and a scandal over her views on birth control, she threw herself into activism. She became a leading voice for the Fabian Society and a fierce advocate for workers' rights, even helping to lead the famous London Matchgirls strike. Later in life, she found her true calling in Theosophy, a spiritual movement. This led her to India, where she became a champion of Indian self-rule. She helped launch the Home Rule League and was even elected president of the Indian National Congress. Besant's journey, from a secularist firebrand in London to a spiritual leader in India, is a testament to a life dedicated to fighting for human freedom and justice, proving that a single individual can bridge different cultures and movements to create lasting change. Number 8. Maria Theresa. When Maria Theresa's father, Emperor Charles VI, died in 1740, the great European powers thought they could easily carve up the Habsburg Empire. They were wrong. As the only female ruler of the Habsburg dominions, Maria Theresa faced an immediate challenge to her throne. She famously stood before the Hungarian assembly with her infant son in her arms, securing their vital support and rallying her empire to war. Despite losing the wealthy province of Silesia to her rival Frederick II of Prussia, she successfully defended the rest of her vast domain. She wasn't just a wartime leader, she was a brilliant reformer. She centralized the government, modernized the military, and introduced financial and educational reforms that strengthened the empire. Maria Theresa was a loving mother to 16 children, yet she was also an absolute monarch who ruled with the counsel of her advisors and fiercely protected her power. Her reign was a period of renewal that solidified Austria's place as a great European power. Number 7. Indira Gandhi. As the daughter of India's first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira Gandhi was born into the world of politics. But she would go on to forge her own path, becoming the first and only female Prime Minister of India. She served 2 separate terms, from 1966 to 1977, and again from 1980 until her assassination in 1984. Known for her political intransigence and a fierce centralization of power, she was a deeply polarizing figure. Her most significant foreign policy achievement was the war with Pakistan in 1971, which led to the creation of Bangladesh and cemented India's status as a regional superpower. However, her controversial decision to institute a state of emergency from 1975 to 1977, where civil liberties were suspended, remains a dark chapter in Indian history. She was a woman of immense strength and resolve, and in 1999, the BBC named her the Woman of the Millennium in an online poll, a testament to her enduring and complicated legacy. Number 6. Eva Peron. From a life of poverty in rural Argentina, Maria Eva Duarte, or Evita, as she's famously known, rose to become the most powerful and beloved woman in her country. After moving to Buenos Aires to pursue an acting career, she met and married Colonel Juan Perón, who would become president of Argentina. As First Lady, Eva Peron was anything but traditional. She became the voice of the working class, or descamisados, speaking on behalf of labor rights and running the ministries of labor and health. She founded the charitable Eva Peron Foundation and championed women's suffrage, leading to the creation of Argentina's first large-scale female political party. Her influence was immense, and she even considered running for vice president. Though she died tragically young at age 33, Eva Peron was declared the spiritual leader of the nation. Her legacy as a champion of the poor continues to inspire generations, a true testament to her passion and combativeness. Number 5. Joan of Arc. In the midst of the 100 Years' War, a young peasant girl named Joan of Arc claimed to have received visions from God, telling her to lead the French to victory against the English. At just 17 years old, she convinced the uncrowned King Charles VII to let her lead a relief army to the besieged city of Orléans. In just 9 days, she lifted the siege, a victory that completely turned the tide of the war. Her string of swift victories led to Charles VII's coronation, a crucial moment for French morale. But her luck wouldn't last. She was captured, sold to the English, and put on trial for heresy. At just 19, she was burned at the stake. However, her death wasn't the end of her story. She was later exonerated and canonized as a saint. Joan of Arc's courage and conviction not only saved a kingdom, but also made her an enduring symbol of French nationalism and an icon of faith and defiance. Number 4. Diana. When Lady Diana Spencer married Prince Charles in 1981, she was instantly thrust into the global spotlight. But she wasn't content to simply be a princess. Diana used her platform for good, transforming the role of a royal and becoming known as the People's Princess. She brought an unprecedented level of compassion to her work, famously walking through a cleared minefield in Angola to raise awareness for landmine victims, and shaking hands with AIDS patients at a time when there was widespread fear and misunderstanding about the virus. Her genuine warmth and relatability endeared her to millions. She was candid about her personal struggles with mental health, which made her a deeply human and empathetic figure. Her tragic death in 1997 shocked the world, but her legacy lives on through her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry. who continue her humanitarian work and keep her memory alive. Number 3. Queen Victoria. At just 18 years old, Alexandrina Victoria became Queen of the United Kingdom, beginning a reign that would last over 6 decades and define an entire era. The Victorian era was a period of massive industrial, political, and scientific change. Under her rule, the British Empire expanded to unprecedented size, leading to her being crowned the first Empress of India in 1876. Victoria was a woman of immense resilience, surviving several assassination attempts and steering her country through immense change. Her personal life was also a source of her iconic status. Her deep and lasting love for her husband, Prince Albert, and her profound grief after his death made her a symbol of enduring widowhood. Her 9 children married into royal families across Europe, creating a vast network of connections and earning her the nickname, the Grandmother of Europe. She wasn't just a queen. She was a global matriarch who presided over a new world order. Number 2. Catherine the Great. Born a minor German princess, Sophie of Anhalt-Zerbst became Empress of Russia through a coup d'état she orchestrated herself against her own husband. Talk about a dramatic entry. But that was just the beginning. During her 34-year reign, Catherine the Great modernized Russia and expanded its borders to an unbelievable extent. She was a brilliant military strategist, crushing the Crimean Khanate and winning major wars against the Ottoman Empire. She also presided over the Russian Enlightenment, a golden age of arts and sciences. She was a patron of learning, establishing the first state-funded higher education institution for women in Europe. While she was a ruthless autocrat, she also had a deeply humanitarian side. She famously had herself and her son inoculated against smallpox, a controversial and dangerous procedure at the time, to show her people it was safe, a powerful act of leadership that saved countless lives. Number 1. Cleopatra. Of all the women on this list, none has captured the imagination quite like Cleopatra. She was the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt, and while she's often remembered for her legendary romances with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, her story is so much more than that. Cleopatra was an incredibly intelligent and highly educated ruler who spoke multiple languages. She was a master of diplomacy and a brilliant political strategist. She used her relationships with Rome's most powerful men to protect her kingdom and preserve its independence from the ever-expanding Roman Empire. She wasn't just a beautiful seductress. She was a brilliant politician who commanded armies and ruled a wealthy empire. Her dramatic suicide after her final defeat marked the end of an era, but her legacy as a formidable leader and a timeless icon of female power lives on. And there you have it, a look at some of history's most influential female leaders. Their stories of courage and impact continue to inspire us today. Let us know who you'd add to the list in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.